Greetings, my fellow crash-landed colonists. Radamon here. Thank you for tuning in to a new series playing Stranded Alien Dawn, the first episode of Desertum. Welcome to a new series of Stranded Alien Dawn. This one, unlike the last, will explore the new biome called Desertum, which is a desert biome, which has some new plants and animals and new challenges and resource scarcities. So let's get to it. It's the same scenario, but the region is going to be the Desertum region. And then there is a new concept introduced called moons, which is kind of like RimWorld's storytellers. So there is Jason, sends tough challenges, provides time to prepare for them. Nyx is the goddess of night and governs everything that lurks in the dark. So I'm not really sure what that means. And Chaos. And knowing me and Randy Random and my relationship with him, I'm definitely going to go Chaos. So, the Chaos Moon for us. I guess our seed is Earth Apple. It's a random seed. And let's get to it. Gonna pick some survivors. I really like Emmeline because she's a great cook, and that boosts everyone's mood. I'm gonna pick Quinn, who is a good explorer, because I want to get into more of the exploring this stream if possible, if I work fast enough. Simon, because he's a tank, and he's a very crafty tank. And then let's go with Lara, because she's really high manipulation and a good farmer. And kick this off. And hopefully my starting stream seed won't be awful. If it's awful, I will re-roll, because I don't want to start off with like some major penalties. All right, quick analysis. This will be fun. Yeah, this will be fun. All right, so first order of business is, as you can see in the top right, set up camp. Because I'm only on medium difficulty, I do start off with some scrap metal, so let's get that going, because no one likes to sleep outdoors. One of the things I should consider, however, is roughly where I'm going to live forever, because once you set up a camp, it's kind of hard to move. So I'm actually going to set a camp over here. I want to sort of be in this flat zone, as that will make for really good base defense later on. And like I said in my, like I have written in my about command, this isn't going to be so much of a tutorial series because I'm going to be going really, really fast. The next thing I wanted to do is work priorities. So I'm going to be whipping through this as well. So Lara is the really highly efficient farmer, so I want her to be the only one harvesting and planting. And then Emmeline is the amazing cook. She's the only one I want cooking. Simon has an interest in crafting, so I'm going to put him on Craft, Tailor, Assemble. Quinn has an interest in research, so I'm going to put him on research. I'm also going to put him on construction because he's the only skilled constructor. And then put some fives. Oops, not there. Fives in here as well. So the next order of business is to start acquiring basic resources. So scavenge the landing pod and scavenge this spaceship debris. I'm also going to want to analyze the bright-leafed plant over here. So I'm going to send Simon to go do that. I'm going to force him to do it so he doesn't abandon it midway through. And then another thing I need is some stone to set up the base camp. So I'm going to have Emmeline first grab the starter gun and then do some mining. And then Quinn is going to construct the scrap shelter. And then as soon as Lara snaps out of her crying fit that you get at the start of the game, I'm going to have her start to scavenge. Oh, good. Debris landing right where I wanted to make camp. And over there, too. It should be fine, I think. Actually, it will be really helpful to have all this debris around. So that's good. So Emmeline, grab that gun, and you are going to get mining. Quinn is building the space shelter, and Simon, I think the cotton plant, or rather the bright leaf plant, that I was going to have you analyze got destroyed by that debris, so analyze this one. Getting a source of textiles really early is very handy. The other thing that we're going to want to do pretty early on is to analyze some trees if we want to be able to use trees, because one of the things that you might notice is there's just not a lot of trees in this biome. For my random seed, I did start with some huge desert trees, which are kind of nice, but sometimes you'll start with basically nothing around. And then other spots will sometimes have palm trees, and a whole lot of them. Like this. It's not like an abundant forest, but as you can see over here, there's quite a lot of palm trees that you can harvest. The real difference between these two maps is the plants that you can farm and the fact that there's a lot of wood scarcity, right? So you're not likely to build a large structure with wood, because it's just the travel distance to obtain the wood and the time it will take is just not sensible. All right, so we do have some of the rocks mined out, so let's avoid the war crime of eating without a table and set that up. Done. I'm also going to need to cut some bushes because I need sticks to be able to feed the fire. So I'm going to cut all those bushes with Lara when she snaps out of it, because she's really good at plant cutting. And thank you for the hype train, guys. And welcome to this unscheduled or previously not on the schedule stream, something like that. I'm excited. All right, so Lara snapped out of it, and she is heading to the broadleaf bushes for sticks, which will be a source of fire for our campfire to cook, and our furnaces to process scrap into metal. What I'm going to try to do, once I have base camp up, is to rush the tech tree. So, Quinn, I want you building these stockpiles next. Emmeline, I want you to scavenge the landing pod. I'm going to try to micromanage them. Rather than to change their activity priorities, I'm just going to micromanage them to make sure they're doing things well. At the beginning of the game, you have a bunch of happiness for determination. So what I'm planning on doing is I have about 4 days of determination, so I'm going to kind of overwork my people for 4 days, and then after 4 days, I will schedule them for it to be a little bit more lax, so that I don't drive them all batty. And I'm going to toss the campfire down here. And then next up, I'm going to want to get a research desk, maybe 2 of them, and then also a workshop, or whatever it is called, a workbench. So the workbench requires wood, which means I'm going to want to cut down one of these huge desert trees. So I'm going to pick the the most grown one around to yield. Why doesn't it let me click on this? 42, okay. So this one was 42 as well. That one's closer. Yeah, don't want to eat without a table. The idea is to set up initial camp as fast as you can, but then also to make sure that you keep everyone's spirits up. Because if you don't fulfill their basic needs, they're going to have breakdowns and your progress is going to be slow. The TLDR of this game is, it's kind of like a RimWorld game, but it's also a bit of a wave survival. So if you don't rush to protect yourself from the waves, depending on your difficulty of the game, you're going to find yourself in a brutal fight. Basically, every time you get attacked, you have to stop what you're doing and address the waves of enemies that are going to crush you. So it's really in your best interest to rush for the ability to defend yourself effectively. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So Simon's almost done observing the bright-leafed plant, which is great. I probably can cancel some of this plant cut from Lara. So let's go cancel that now. Emmeline, I want you to scavenge again. And then Lara's going to transport that and start scavenging maybe here or here, wherever you want to be. I don't care. And Quinn is going to jump immediately to research. And the first research I'm going to go for is the metal refinement so that I can start making metals. Actually, Lara, no, I lied. I need you to go cut this tree down. Quinn, I don't know what you're doing, but research. Okay, I literally just informed you. There you go. They're fighting me a little bit, but I fight better than they do. let me put Yoda on for a little bit. So Emmeline's going to get some scrap that is pretty essential for us to have early on. And then as soon as Simon's done, I'll have him analyze some other plants around that I think are going to be useful and necessary for us to have. But the bright leaf plants are cloth blossoms, which is a plant that also existed in the original biome. So that's not new. One of the things that you will notice is that the terrain is a lot less arable, the soil. So there is a nice, rich spot over here, fortunately. But that's a challenge of this map, is that there's not a whole lot of it that you can farm on efficiently. And Laura's coming back with that wood, which is great. That allows me to make a workbench. I'll put that over here. Honestly, I should have put the campfire... Maybe I'll move it. Should have put the campfire closer to the research so that they're not in the dark. But they're currently celebrating their survival. And it won't stop that. So here's the workbench, and I'll stick this here. Good. So let's go ahead and harvest the cloth blossoms now that I've analyzed the plant. There's not a lot of other cloth blossom around, so I'm going to farm a small plot of it here with Laura tomorrow morning. Probably... I did get a little bit more scrap, so I'm probably going to put Quinn and Simon on research, and then have Emmeline continue to scavenge. It's possible, through chance, to scavenge some really amazing things really early on, and that would be very helpful. So Quinn is making the second research desk, and then making the workbench, and then they're both going to be put on research. Hey, Ekim. How you doing? What have you been playing lately, buddy? Has it been, I've actually lurked some of your streams. But, how are you enjoying yourself? And welcome to the stream. I exist. You're still on the Stationeer's Bend? I fully got off that train, so I'm glad that there's a capable player carrying that torch. It would be good, Quinn, if instead of hauling one at a time, we hauled 10 or 20. There we go. Now we don't have to make that trip back to the starter shuttle. That's the one disadvantage of not setting up right where you land, is that it might be a little bit annoying. So now that we have metal furnaces, we'll get those up. They require stone, and they require sticks. I already have stone and sticks, no problem. And then next up, we are going to push for construction basics, because I don't want to live in a shack down by the pond. Big no thanks. So for the bills here, I am going to say do until we have 30 metal. No, I'll actually push it up to 50. So changing the initial bills to, rather than to make a batch of 10, to always try to keep at least 50 metals in stock. And then they get handled, and Laura is harvesting and you are scavenging. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. So the workbench here, I can make bandages. Because I'm only on medium difficulty, I do start off with some medicines, so I don't really need to rush that. But there's a reason to make them anyway. And the reason being, Simon here is our best crafter. So if we take a look at the activities here, he's the best. Well, okay, Quinn's the best crafter, but Simon is interested in it, so he levels up faster in it. But I'm going to want him to level up even more, because there's things that eventually I'll have to craft, and I need him to gain the skill to do it. So I'm going to have him make bandages, and then maybe also make some clothing to level up his crafting. So he's going to make some bandages, which are a really good way to treat initial wounds in the game. Generally speaking, your first few fights, you're going to have superficial wounds that can be tended without medicine, and then some wounds that need a little bit of medicine. Oh, there's a really good opportunity here. This bug is dead, and I am going to butcher it, stealing it from these long-tailed reptiles, because that will unlock a research possibility that I want access to. Sorry. Snooze, you lose. So now that I got that, I can do insect fats, which allows me to make insect oils, which eventually leads to fuel, which then leads to flamethrowers, which is absolutely the best way to defend yourself early on. Some other natural resources around me to take advantage of would be these cacti at some point when food gets scarce. And then also, where is it? The ores over here. Anyone that watched the first series knows that that's metal ore that I can use, and that's pretty close by. Another thing that I'm going to want is a source of silicon. I did see a silicon flower over yonder, right there. But I definitely want a better source of silicon, because that is not a lot of silicon flowers. So I would say, given my random seed... Oh, there's some over there. Given my random seed, a bottleneck that I foresee is silicon, so I should start planting those flowers soonish, so that I can yield from them. Because it would be really bad to have that be a bottleneck. This is very RimWorld vibes, in a lot of ways, but also kind of like a wave survival game. I guess one could say that about RimWorld too, but this feels even more wave survival-y, in my opinion. Okay, so they're both back to research, which is really good. And I actually might stop for a second to do insect fats and then double back to construction basics. When you cancel your research and then pick it back up, you don't lose progress. You pick up where you left off. What kind of waves are there? Animals that want to munch on you kind of waves. They're not, no, like human raiders, at least not yet. I don't really know what's in the development plan, but as far as I know, they're... I mean, I have no idea if they're going to be raider people. The story behind this is like, this is sort of a gold rush, and people came here to try to exploit resources, but then the ship blew up and things went wrong. So, it's not a planet that was inhabited by people beforehand, but then again, there are additional biomes and possibly a new scenario on the horizon, because obviously a scenario selection was something that exists. So, yeah, it's quite possible that there'll be additional types of scenarios, like human raider scenarios in the future. I have no idea what's in store. Fleeing into... Oh, yeah. No, you don't need to flee. What were you currently doing? You were hauling this? Just keep hauling it. Those animals will leave you alone. And if they don't, I'll murder them. Do I need to step in? You know what? I'm going to. You're dead. Mr. Camel thing, dromedary thing is dead too. Yeah, don't fight in my backyard. Butcher. So now that I'm going to be butchering that, what I need to do is get a drying rack up. I hate to use my wood, because wood is kind of a scarce resource, but I don't have enough scrap for it. Because that humped animal there yields hides, and I'm going to want to dry the hides into leather. But also meat. Now that I have a little bit of meat, let's make some meat soup. Oh, yeah, another fight. Trying to take advantage of predators fighting prey and then stepping in like I did is so much easier than trying to hunt on your own. Also, hunting during the day is better because at night you suffer light penalties where it's harder to hunt at night unless you have a very capable shooter. So avoid that if you can. Oh, I don't know if you can see it. Hold on. Tusk is like upside down with her belly out. Oh, she just rolled. But it was really cute. What a cutie. Wow. Everyone is like a little bit too happy. They're all euphoric. There's also a big advantage to really good mood. When they're euphoric, they actually have a higher consciousness in manipulation, which makes them better at kind of every task that they do. So, I don't know why they're this chipper. One of the things about the desert map is it's often very cold at night. And for a lot of the season, it's actually cold throughout. It's a pretty cold map, but sometimes it will have heat waves. So err on making clothing to keep you warm, but also being able to manage when you have a heat wave. But I would say the penalties for being cold are more severe than the penalties for being warm in this game. As well. Alright, so all the meat has been butchered. We're going back to the research, trying to get insect fats. Emmeline is making some meat soup. Keep people happy. And I have my first wave of insects to kill. So I've immediately drafted Emmeline. I don't want to waste any time to whittle down this group as best as I can with the laser pistol I start off with. What's going to happen is when I shoot at them, some will well, in this case, most aggroed, and you can just shoot and run. And because she's euphoric, she's going to be a little bit more accurate. And then if you put enough distance between you and them, they'll lose interest. But then after maybe an in-game hour or two, I don't know exact timing, they will all attack you. So it's best to, and I did this obviously in the first season, but it's best to whittle down their numbers as effectively. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to build a base to be able to handle these waves automatically with turrets so that you don't have to stop what you're doing and micromanage the combat, which is lengthy. I did just research insect fats, so I'm going to pause for a second and get an oil press going. And I'm going to make an oil press out of, I guess, metal and put Quinn on that. Because I want to be able to make oils ASAP. Another thing is that these bugs here yield bug meat. So I'm going to want to also butcher them for bug meat to turn them into oils too. I'm trying to basically design a flamethrower to kill bugs using bug corpses. You know, the circle of life, or death in this case. And I think this is the last bug. Oh, we just scavenged a whole bunch of liquid fuel. So that actually lets me cut out a whole lot of the research tree, which is really nice. I'm still going to butcher these animals, these overgrown insects, but that random luck... Oh, no, there's one left. My bad. That random luck getting the liquid fuels scavenged off the ship allows me to skip a step. So that allows me to jump straight to flamethrowers. Yeah. I'm going to... Yeah, let's just do that. I'm going to queue that up right after construction basics. That's a really good shortcut. And that's one of the reasons why you want to prioritize scavenging early on, because you can get lucky with some really nice finds, like finding medicine or fuel or weapons and things like that. Looks like this animal's injured, but I'm not going to take advantage of it. Does construction build walls? Yeah, construction allows you to build buildings. Without that, you're just in a shack. So it's for defensive reasons, it's really important to live in a building pretty early on, or you're going to get overrun and not be able to defend yourself. And on this map, there is a pretty good source of stone and sticks. I don't really want to live in a hay house. You know, 3 little pigs and all. I don't want to live in the hay house that gets blown over by a swift breeze. So instead, I am going to probably build stone structures for now. But there it is, construction basics. And when I go into construction basics, one of the penalties is going to be that it's going to tie up my researcher who's currently researching flamethrowers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait a second and have him put a little bit more research in while Simon's crafting, so I don't lose progress. Raptor Talent, thank you for the resub. Cheers, dude. And Backroad Runner and DS5K, Arcrune. Welcome all. Pleasure to have you here. Is it possible to tree farm this biome? It is, but the length it takes for a tree to grow and the short grow season for trees in this biome means that if I planted trees today, I would be able to harvest them in like a year. And in a year, if I don't have a solid structure above my head, I'm dead. So you can tree farm, but it's really not going to yield enough resources for you to effectively survive. So don't. Just dig up some stone and throw a stone hut above your head. And that's going to be way more effective, I think. I'm actually going to have Lara, who is really high manipulation, I'm going to have her start to mine. So let's go to orders and hold left shift and sort of drag all the stones around me to be mined up so that I can build an initial home to protect myself from the hypothermia, and also to get some of the other bonuses like creature comforts and comfortable bed and things like that. So I have my 50 metals. Yep. Why is Simon cooking? Oh, Butchery is hunting. So I'm going to change his priorities here. Lowering his hunt and raising Lara's hunt. Whoa! Why? Could you, like, take this out? I guess we are outside. I like how Simon didn't even look up. He's just like, oh yeah, okay. Big murder. It's all good, right? I think what I'm going to start to do is to, now that I have some meat soups, dry the red raw meat so that it keeps a little bit longer, because I don't have refrigeration, obviously. Can you guys, like, get out of my backyard with this murdering stuff? That'd be great. Thanks. So I do have some animal fats. So normally what you would have to do is you would have to research the animal oils and then research fuel mixing to be able to get flamethrowers, but because we salvaged fuel, I can skip that step. But I'm going to still want to research fuel mixing so that when I use up my salvaged fuel, I can make more. Do you get a penalty for bug meat? Yeah. That's why I'm not including it in the food. Actually, there's something I forgot to do, which is I forgot to disable raw food for everyone, because I don't want them eating raw food either. So flamethrowers are now researched, and as soon as my, yeah, you can see how fast the research is with 2 good researchers. As soon as my miners start mining up, Lara, I'm going to put you on mining. I'm going to start throwing together maybe like a 7x7 stone building. You don't want it so large that you can't finish it in a reasonable amount of time, but you don't want it so small that it's like an impossible to utilize space. Obviously, a square is going to be the most bang for your buck in terms of shapes, and then you're probably going to want to plan for it to be a permanent structure. So there's a lot to consider when you're doing that. So Quinn, instead of scavenging, let's start a stone building. So I did say that I probably wanted to be in this flat area, but I'm gonna try to be a little bit closer to my farms. And let's go 7 by 7 with... For now, I'll have the stairs there, and I'm just going to do the foundation initially. I'm also going to click these bugs. As bugs decay, they yield less resources. So the bugs that are out here are not yielding full resources anymore, so it's not really worth my time. Hey, Simon. Oh, really? Why? Oh, because he doesn't have crafting 3 to make fuel. Okay, well, he'll get there. So, Lara, you're back to mining. Emmeline, I'm going to have you mine as well. So right now, I'm just prioritizing them to gain the stone for me to get an initial stone structure, because that is the most important barrier to long-term survival right now. So buildings, walls. Oops. Door, I will opt for the slightly more expensive metal door. And then you can just go like a whole room and that would do it all. But I'm just trying to do it in steps. Not because it really benefits me at all, though. And then, Simon, you are researching electrical grids and then tailoring. Perfect. Feel like I'm off to a really fast start, which is very helpful. Another thing that I actually, instead of electrical grids, I take that back. Stop, do wooden fortifications. Hold on. Do I need that? No. Do electrical grids, I lied. So the miners are mining up stone, they're bringing it over to Quinn, and Quinn is putting it to good use, I hope. Another thing I'm going to want here is flooring. I'll just do stone paving, because stone is an abundant resource. That way we avoid the, like, caveman debuff, and instead get the creature comfort buff, which is nice. Electrical grids is researched. My goodness, this is going fast. Let's get diesel generators and electrical smelting. Can you get more people in the game? You can, yes. And I fully expect that we'll be adding people in this series. Sometimes you get new people really, really early on because you have a campfire lit and they just arrive. And that actually could sometimes be a hindrance if you have very limited amount of food early game. But then later on, there's expeditions that you can do with a hot air balloon to add people. And I want to be doing a lot of the expeditions. I'm trying to basically... I wouldn't say it's a formal speed run, but if you do have questions, feel free to use the channel port redemption, asking a question about the game, and I'll answer it. But I am speeding through to try to show some more of the endgame content for your benefit. Just eat them? Eat the people that join? I don't think you can. Sorry to say, but this game doesn't come with full features of cannibalism. So if we park ourselves here, that puts these cloth blossom fields and what seem to be the slightly more fertile soil pretty close to our initial structure, which is going to be useful because if I set up defensive structures to protect this building, we're close enough to the farms. Basically, you don't want your farms alone. There's a attack type called Hungry Pests, where a bunch of creatures come and they will absolutely ravage your farm fields. So it's really useful for your farms to be close to where you set up defenses. Because if it's not, you are going to lose a lot of your crop. All right, at this point, I do think that I probably have enough stone for now to at least complete this phase. I went a little overboard with the amount of mining queues that I've set up, so I'm going to cancel them. And then also put a roof of stone. So stone is just a really good blocking objects. What are you talking about? There we go. Stone is just a really good, not a good, but a decent thermal insulator with somewhat higher HP so that the buildings don't get destroyed. And then the next thing I'm going to do is to set up a shared barracks. And then for now, until I have an electrical grade action. Well, I'm probably pretty close to getting diesel. No, not that. Well, yeah, somewhat close. I'm going to skip the whole torch lit and go with diesel power. Oh, you're stressed out. Okay, I think now that you're stressed out, it is worth scheduling stuff. Okay, so now they have a schedule. What functions do Windows serve? Windows will let some light in, but they are bad thermal insulators, which is important to have on a desert map. And they also prevent you from building on the walls, which is also kind of important to have. So I honestly just avoid Windows. The costs don't outweigh the benefits for me. Looks like I need a little bit more wood for a dartboard. So I am going to work to get the wood. And actually, I'm going to not build the dartboard there. I'm going to build the dartboard like here. Okay, we have the tailor bench. Guess I'm making that out of metal. Well, actually, if I need more wood, what I'll do is I'll cut down another one of these oasis trees. Maybe the one that had this one. And make that out of wood. Avoid Windows, spoken like a true programmer. Yeah, I mean, you're welcome to try Windows, but I have definitely not seen them to be useful in my experience. All right, so Laura's cutting down that tree, and then Quinn is asleep. That's unfortunate, because I wanted them in the more comfortable beds tonight, but that's going to happen tomorrow night. And a heat wave. Well, at least we'll not be hypothermic. We'll be hyperthermic. Right, this chair, I will stick there. And as you can see, I'm grouping things together because I'm trying to maximize the amount of open space that I have. Transporting 7 wood. You cut down a whole tree. You left 35 wood over here and you're transporting 7? Someone wants to be demoted. And it's not even 10 wood that we need to build the dartboard. Lara, you are disappointing. Go haul that. Whoa, scavenge more fuel. Alright, let's make the beds. That's gonna have a big effect on our mood. Diesel jennies just got researched, so electric smelting will be next. Electric smelting allows you to make, allows you to convert metal alloys to ore in a better ratio. So if you check smelting here, well, no, that's not true. The furnaces require sticks, and if you, it will make you have to go scavenge for sticks regularly if you rely on stone furnace smelting. But with that said, I could probably skip that for now and go for wooden fortifications and concrete rooms. Yeah. And there we go. Now we have a little bit of recreation and people can sit around and relax and recover, so I avoid mental breakdowns. And Lara, you brought that wood? I hope. So the other purpose of the wood is I wanted to make, what, a tailor bench? And I probably will change the way these beds are laid out. I actually don't like them like this, but you can move them really inexpensively. If outside there was tons of killer bugs, you would happily live in a windowless room? Yeah, I can see that. When the outside is trying to kill you, the view is not that glorious. So once people are up, I'm going to destroy their initial beds, and then I'm actually going to break down the shelters too, to recover this scrap, because we don't really need it there. Oh, you fainted, you're too tired. Come on, just build the... Okay. Build the last bed, and now you can go to sleep. Perfect. So this thing doesn't actually have a roof over it, but at least it's a comfortable bed. So it has one thing going for it. We'll get the roof soon. Thank you for watching Stranded Alien Dawn Desertum, which originally streamed live on Twitch December 12th and December 13th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rodamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my gaming community, Rodamont.com also has a link to Discord, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. I hope you enjoyed this series, and I hope to catch you in an upcoming series or an upcoming stream. Thank you so very much for watching. Farewell.